This is my lecture on qualitative data analysis. Qualitative data is defined as the data that approximates and characterizes. Qualitative data can be observed and recorded. This data type is non-numerical in nature. This type of data is collected through methods of observations, one-to-one interviews, conducting focus groups, and similar methods. Qualitative data in statistics is also known as categorical data, data that can be arranged categorically based on the attributes and properties of a thing or a phenomenon. This graph shows how it works. At the middle, there is a question how a focus group works, and there are different elements. Determine the topic and goals, identify potential participants, prepare a guide that outlines the focus group questions, choose a location, recruit 6 to 12 participants, conduct a 90 to 120 minute session led by the moderator, analyze the session, and present a thorough written and oral report. Steps for conducting focus groups: recruit the right participants, choose a moderator, record the meeting for future purposes, write a clear discussion guideline, conduct the session and generate a report, use the data to make a plan of action. Qualitative data is also called categorical data since the data can be grouped according to categories. For example, think of a student reading a paragraph from a book during one of the class sessions. A teacher who is listening to the reading gives feedback on how the child read that paragraph. If the teacher gives feedback based on fluency, intonation, throw of words, clarity in pronunciation without giving a grade to the child, this is considered as an example of qualitative data. It's pretty easy to understand the difference between qualitative and quantitative data. Qualitative data doesn't include numbers in its definition or traits, whereas quantitative data is all about numbers. Qualitative data is important in determining the particular frequency of traits or characteristics. It allows the statistician or the researchers to form parameters through which larger data sets can be observed. Qualitative data provides the means by which observers can quantify the world around them. For a market researcher, collecting qualitative data helps in answering questions like who their customers are, what issues or problems they are facing, and where do they need to focus their attention so problems or issues are resolved. Qualitative data is about the emotions and perceptions of people, what they feel. In quantitative data, these perceptions and emotions are documented. It helps the market researchers understand the language their consumers speak and deal with the problem effectively and efficiently. Qualitative data collection methods. There are 6 methods: one-to-one interviews, focus groups, record keeping, observation, longitudinal studies, and case studies. The following slides will define the 6 methods. One-to-one interviews. It is one of the most commonly used data collection instruments for qualitative research, mainly because of its personal approach. The interviewer or the researcher collects data directly from the interviewee on a one-to-one basis. Focus groups. This is done in a group discussion setting. The group is limited to 6 to 10 people, and a moderator is assigned to moderate the ongoing discussion. Depending on the data which is sorted, the members of the group may have something in common. Record keeping. This method makes use of the already existing reliable documents and similar resources of information as the data source. This data can be used in the new research. It is similar to going to a library. Process of observation. In this qualitative data collection method, the researcher immerses himself or herself in the setting where his respondents are and keeps a keen eye on the participants and takes down notes. This is known as the process of observation. Besides taking notes, other documentation methods such as video and audio recording, photography, and similar methods can be used. Longitudinal studies. This data collection method is performed on the same data source repeatedly over an extended period. It's an observational research method that goes on for a few years and in some cases go on for even decades. This data collection method aims to find correlations through an empirical study of subjects with common traits. Case studies. In this method, data is gathered by an in-depth analysis of case studies. The versatility of this method is demonstrated in how this method can be used to analyze both simple and complex subjects. The strength of this method is how judiciously it uses a combination of one or more qualitative data collection methods to draw inferences. Qualitative data analysis. This is an important issue where analyzing your data is vital as you have spent time and money collecting it. It's an essential process because you don't want to find yourself in the dark even after putting in so much effort. However, there are no set ground rules for analyzing qualitative data. It all begins with understanding the two main approaches to qualitative data: deductive approach and inductive approach. Deductive approach. The deductive approach involves analyzing qualitative data based on a structure that is predetermined by the researcher. The researcher can use the questions as a guide for analyzing the data. The approach is quick and easy and can be used when the researcher has a fair idea about the likely responses that he or she is going to receive from the sample population. The other approach is inductive approach. The inductive approach, on the contrary, is not based on a predetermined structure or set ground rules or framework. It's a more time-consuming and thorough approach to qualitative data analysis. An inductive approach is often used when a researcher has very little or no idea of the research phenomenon. There are 5 steps analysis. Step 1 is arrange your data. Once you have collected all the data, it's largely unstructured and sometimes makes no sense when looked at a glance. Therefore, it is essential that a researcher, you first need to transcribe the data collected. The first step in analyzing your data is arranging it systematically. Arranging data means converting all the data into a text format. You can either export the data into spreadsheet or manually type the data or choose from any of the computer-assisted qualitative data analysis tools. The second step, organize all your data. After transforming and arranging your data, the immediate next step is to organize your data. There are chances you most likely have a large amount of information that still needs to be arranged in an orderly manner. One of the best ways to organize the data is by going back to your research objectives and then organizing the data based on the questions asked. Arrange your research objective in a table so it appears visually clear. At all costs, avoid the temptations of working with unorganized data. You will end up wasting time and there will be no conclusive results obtained. The third step, set a code to the data collected. Setting up proper codes for the collected data takes you a step ahead. Coding is one of the best ways to compress a tremendous amount of information collected. The coding of qualitative data simply means categorizing and assigning properties and matters to the collected data. Coding is an important step in qualitative data analysis, as you can derive theories from relevant research findings. After assigning codes to your data, you can then begin to build on the patterns to gain in-depth insight into the data that will help make informed decisions. Step 4, validate your data. Validating data is one of the crucial steps of qualitative data analysis for successful research. Since data is quintessential to research, it is imperative to ensure that the data is not flawed. Please note that the data validation is not just one step in qualitative data analysis. This is a recurring step that needs to be followed throughout the research process. There are two sides of validating data: accuracy of your research design or methods, and reliability, which is the extent to which the method produces accurate data consistently. The last step is concluding the analysis process. It is important to finally conclude your data, which means systematically presenting your data. A report that can be readily used. The report should state the methods that you, as a researcher, use to conduct the research studies, the positives and negatives, and study limitations. In the report, you should also state the suggestions, inferences of your findings, and any related areas for future research. Advantages of qualitative data. Number 1, it helps in-depth analysis, where qualitative data collected provide the researchers with a detailed analysis of subject matters. While collecting qualitative data, the researchers tend to probe the participants and can gather ample information by asking the right kind of questions. From a series of questions and answers, the data that is collected is used to conclude. The second point is understand what customers think. Qualitative data helps the market researcher to understand the mindset of their customers. The use of qualitative data gives businesses an insight into why a customer purchased a product. Understanding customer language helps market research infer the data collected more systematically. The third point is rich data. Collected data can be used to conduct research in the future as well. Since the questions asked to collect qualitative data are open-ended questions, respondents are free to express their opinions, leading to more information. Disadvantages of qualitative data: time-consuming. Qualitative data is more time-consuming. Fewer people are studying in comparison to collecting quantitative data. Unless time and budget allow, smaller sample size is included. Not easy to generalize. Since fewer people are studied, it is difficult to generalize the results of that population. The third point is that qualitative data is dependent on the researcher's skills. This type of data is collected through one-to-one interviews, observations, focus groups, etc. It relies on the researcher's skills and experience to collect information from this sample. The next group of slides, I will review with you the Nvivo software used frequently to analyze qualitative data. This is an advertisement saying that unlock insight in your data with the best qualitative data analysis software, where Nvivo helps you discover more from your qualitative and mixed method data. uncover richer insights, and produce clearly articulated, defensible findings backed by rigorous evidence. Here we will see 4 different parts or description of the Nvivo, where the heading simplified. More than just a tool for organizing and managing data, Nvivo refers to an intuitive, qualitative data analysis experience that helps you uncover deeper research. To be able to read the text, I am enlarging this. The first, there are 4 points: import, organize, explore, and connect. For import, you import text, audio, video, emails, images, spreadsheets, online surveys, web content, and social media from various sources into a simple, intuitive interface. Centralize data from multiple sources in order to conduct the most in-depth analysis possible. The second point is organize. Code your data in order to more quickly identify themes and trends. Organize the people, places, and core metrics of your analysis as cases. Link cases to attribute values such as age and gender to compare different groups in your data. The third step here is to explore. Ask complex questions to discover meaning in your data. Quickly visualize your data with word frequency charts, words clouds, comparison diagrams, and many more. Look for emerging topics and sentiment using specific queries to identify themes and draw conclusions. The last point is connect. It's easy to import notes and data directly from Microsoft products such as Excel and Word with the Nvivo integration add-in. Licenses for the latest release of Nvivo all come with access to the Nvivo integration add-in for 12 months at no additional cost. This is a clear advertisement. Plus, Nvivo integrates easily with the programs you use every day. Leverage free integrations for apps like SurveyMonkey, EndNote, and more to centralize your research. Here we are going to talk about 3 issues: 2 modules, transcription and collaboration, and a complementary product called CTAV. Transcription, your automated transcription assistant for audio and video data in qualitative and mixed method research. I'm going to enlarge the text now. Quick, easy, precise transcriptions. When conducting qualitative research, transcribing interviews and other audio-video files is essential, but can be extremely time-consuming. With powerful automated transcription, you gain the freedom to focus on analyzing your data. Transcription has never been more flexible. Transcribe audio and video files and transfer them in an Nvivo ready format straight for your project. Nvivo Transcription's intuitive editor allows you to quickly make changes, tag speakers, and ensure that your transcription is formatted how you need it. Other module is Nvivo Research Collaboration, where you share ideas, expertise, and insights across teams with Nvivo's collaboration solutions. Is another facility. Teamwork made simple. As research teams expand in size and geography, so does the importance of collaboration with colleagues, shared data, expertise, and insights with our collaboration solutions. In Nvivo Collaboration Cloud, uses the power of the cloud to host Nvivo projects, providing remote teams with a secure way to store data, master project files, and their team's analysis. The master project is stored in the cloud, allowing team members to download the project and conduct their analysis offline, and later upload to Nvivo Collaboration Cloud so that the project lead can merge their contributions to the master projects. For teams working on central location, Nvivo Collaboration Server supports real-time collaboration with the added security of your data being stored on your own organization's site server. Streamline your writing, which is a supplementary module. Gain new power with your research with Citavi. Enjoy the freedom that centralized reference management, writing, and collaboration offers. Let us see what this is all about. Everyone conducting research in today's world faces the common challenges of time constraints, remote collaboration, information overload, and how to keep data, notes, and references organized. With Citavi, the only all-in-one note-taking and reference management application, you can make it a breeze. This part of the presentation has to do with practical examples that I conducted myself. The first of these examples is dialogue analysis. It's a very important workshop took place in Dubai, the Emirates, and it talks about, it's a big project called ReWater, and it talks about wastewater reuse. The whole idea revolves around the concept that despite the potential benefits of treated wastewater in meeting water demand in the MENA region, wastewater reuse is still an untapped opportunity. Water reuse is complex and brings both opportunities and risks. Experts that were in the workshop were divided in 3 groups to discuss challenges, policy options, and policy changes. 3 issues were chosen to define challenges, corresponding solutions, and policy changes, which are technical, economic, and social, and institutional and political. These are photographs showing the 3 groups with the moderator. You can see that the contents of this presentation and this presentation after this one is a practical application of the slides that I covered before, including the definitions and even the Nvivo itself. This is the second group, and this is the third group. I was the general reporter of the whole session. This is why I get a lot of details about what's happening, and I was asked to write the report. This is details of the discussions put in a spreadsheet form where it shows the 3 issues, challenges, and the policy options, and the policy change. And we have 3 groups of people. Every group suggested these challenges and discussed these policy options for this challenge and this policy change for this policy option taken from this challenge. Therefore, it's a hierarchy of challenges, and inside challenges there are policy options, and inside policy options there is policy change. Therefore, I prepared this table to show how to count the number of challenges, policy options, and policy changes for each group for the 3 issues: technical, economic, and institutional. To give an example, the shaded row here shows it is for the institutional challenge. Group 2 has 4 challenges and 2 options for challenges 1 and 2 options for challenge 2. which are 1112 and 2122, in addition to one change for challenge 1, which is 111, and one change for challenge 2, which is 211. I also use this graph to summarize the table before, where you can see that the groups are not not all the groups come with the same number of choices, of course, due to that the group contains different people and different experts, but this is a summary of that summarizes what happens in the discussions. The first step is to convert the dialogue into a database to use the pivot table. The pivot table is my spreadsheet tool that I use to analyze the data. Here, I use titles that I extracted from the dialogue to code the text. Therefore, this is the pivot table to analyze data. And this title is the coding. The third row here, called title, is the coding of the subject to allow the qualitative analysis. This is the database. This part summarizes part of the discussion on options for groups 1 and 2, as you can see. This is a pivot table. I'm going to go through each element of this graph separately. First of all, I have to, inside the pivot table, to decide where is the rows and where is columns and where is the filters and where are the values. As you can see, these are 4 different groups that I have to assign by dragging the element into the empty box here. And this it depends on how I like to see the data. I put the challenge for filters, I put count of challenges for values, and I use the axis, the title or the code I put, and the column, the group. By doing that, I get this table. This is a filter, and these are the rows, and these are the columns. This is the table extracted by pivot table from the big database and does the counting. And here is the graph that shows the policy options institutional. These are the titles. And these are the different colors, the 3 different colors shows the number of issues raised by group 1, group 2, and group 3. To summarize the graphs I extracted from the data, I had here about 15 graphs, and the red crosses here shows the examples, the sample I'm going to show in the next slides. This shows the number of challenges compared to the number of options and compared to the number of changes in the 3 different issues, technical, economic, and institutional, irrespective of the group. It's a summation of what happened in the 3 groups. Here, in this graph, the most popular issues for technical challenges are transmission lines and proper technologies, followed by treatment planning and effluent reuse. The graph also shows that Group 2 suggested more challenges than the other 2 groups. Group 2 main challenges include technical data, storage, standards, pollution, irrigation technology, impact on agriculture, and effluent reuse. Here, as you can see, this paragraph I just read for you is part of the report to describe or to conclude the infographics. This second graph showed the awareness is mentioned by the 3 groups. Other popular issues include waste to energy, proper technology, ministerial committees, media, and cost recovery. Group 2 has the largest number of policy options as the previous slide. Main options for Group 2 are women participation, technical data, success stories, stakeholder participation, research and development, private-public partnership, political will, database, management adaptation, and accountability. This last graph without comment shows the options technical, and it shows the different issues starting from technical data and ending by accountability, and the three colors shows the activities of the three groups. The other thing, the other series of slides is another example, but it's written in Arabic, but I'm going to continue explaining in English. It's part of the Faculty of Education postgraduate diploma. The course I'm teaching is called the Capstone Project, and this is a capstone project for leaders of STEM university, STEM schools, and the whole issue is about to test the awareness of the public of the existence and the importance of the STEM schools. STEM schools are high technological schools provided by an American aid, and the STEM is an abbreviation for the letters science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And they did the research by having phone calls with students, with graduates, to prepare a document to increase the awareness of the society and parents of the advanced technological schools. They talked to 15 different people, and the phone calls were recorded. They put the information from the phone calls in a table to have to make a qualitative statistical study on the answers and how to increase the awareness of the society from the data collected about the experience of the participants in the research. We put the questions and answers in a database, and we used Excel. We used the pivot table and pivot chart to present the data. The main output of the study is this document of awareness to encourage society and parents to know more about STEM schools. This is how we put the phone calls into the database, and here I did the coding for the questions and for the answers. The different columns you hear, the name of the participant, his job, the question, and the last row to the left is the answers. Then we used the previous table to create the codes, and here are the codes. You can see that the number of words for questions and answers has been reduced, and the similar answers were given the same code so that it facilitates the analysis. But in order to be able to work with the pivot table, I have to create a full database without empty cells. Therefore, there is a lot of repetition, but this is what is needed to analyze the data. Therefore, I did a similar exercise like the one I showed before, where I have to put from the column headings where each column heading goes in the 4 different spaces here in the pivot table. And this is the analysis where we analyze the answers of the questions, and these are the answers to the questions. For example, the first one here on top is the decision to join the school. What are the additions of STEM school compared to regular schools? What are the difficulties? Do you miss the family? Is it difficult to join the school? Is the school boring? And how to deal with teachers and colleagues, and a special question about the summer course. And these are the number of answers. Here, here are the answers to the questions, and here are the number of answers itself. You can see that some questions have very few answers, but some other questions have different answers. Here is a combined graph that shows different things. It shows the answers and questions, where this is the list of the questions, and these are the answers, and the color code shows, for example, about the decision to join the school, what are the different answers, where some answers were more frequent than others. All these inferences will be taken to write the final report of the project itself. Here is a list of people the participants who were called by phone, and their number of answers. As you can see, not all the participants were like verbose when it comes to answering the question. Some of them were very brief and some are elaborate. This is again a combined chart that shows the answers assigned to the persons themselves, where the first one on top is having the most answers, followed by the one because I sorted the data, because this graph has been shown before without the stacked colors to show the different answers to the questions. Here I finished my presentation with this beautiful infographic. I hope you enjoyed my presentation about qualitative data analysis. You knew about the software called Nvivo, even though I don't use it, but it is important to mention. And then I gave you two examples, one about experts, water resources experts in Dubai, and the other one are the graduate students in the Faculty of Education, one conducted in English and the other one conducted in Arabic. I hope my presentation is of benefit to you.